You want to know a secret? I guess if I tell you, it won't be a secret anymore, will it? Well, I might as well tell you. We traded the Landau VT off for a 25-foot version of that Joker RT that we demoed last week. We are very, very happy with what this thing is doing. It is making a super nice seed bed. Look at that. Hey there, thanks for turning down my road. If this is your first time here, my name's Carl. My little brother and I both work for local farmers full time, but we both also farm together with our cattle herd and our hay operation. If you don't have the joy of farming yourself, I'd love to help you experience it through this channel. Whatever your background, you found the right place. This is Dodge Brothers Farm and Ranch. We are currently no-till planting corn right into this rye. The rye is actually still alive. We haven't even sprayed it yet. We'll probably spray it next week when the wind dies down. We had a neighbor come and plant this rye right after we combined the soybeans last fall. And I think this is going to work out pretty good. This is just really cool. I wish we could do all of it like this. You know, 50% corn, 50% beans. Never chisel plow, never work ground in the spring. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work out like that. We've got to work in the manure. We've got to get rid of the compaction from harvesting in wet conditions in falls that are not ideal. But when it works like this, it's really nice. If you've been watching on Instagram, you've already seen this, but this field we are planting with a variable rate prescription, a population recommendation map for this field based on soil type and yield history. And the planter is automatically changing the population as we go through those different management zones. I don't have to worry about it. It has it all laid out, and it just automatically raises and lowers the population when we go through those spots. Look at that. The left side of the planter is planting different population than the right side of the planter, and it's all just happening on the fly without any input from me. You also might notice that as I'm entering the end rows that we planted at an angle, it's automatically shutting each one of the rows off as they cross over into the end rows. So right now I'm calibrating one of these smart box insecticide meters. This box ran out a fair amount before the other ones did in the field, so I knew it wasn't metering the exact same amount as the rest of them. It was a little out of adjustment for some reason. So all you do is you just do a sample, simulated 500 feet run at 5 miles per hour. That's all taken care of in the control box in the cab. Then we go weigh the collected sample. It should be 41.5 grams. If it's a little heavy, we'll enter the amount that it actually dispensed into the monitor, and then it will calibrate it back into submission, hopefully. Sometimes you got to do it a couple times to get it right, but usually you can get it pretty accurate. This is what it looks like when I'm pulling into the last field of corn to plant. I mean, it looks like any other field, but to me it looks different because it's the last one. Guys, look at this sky. I don't even want to turn the lights on because it's just so, man, look at that. How do you not get excited about that if you don't? I don't understand. Yesterday was supposed to be the last day of planting corn, but I got to show you what broke on the tractor that cost us over an hour yesterday, and we ended up not getting done. This is the dumbest breakdown I've ever experienced. So this plastic piece is supposed to get pushed on by the button outside, and it's supposed to have a lever that sticks out right here for you to pull, that's supposed to be hooked up to this, that's supposed to unlatch the door, which it does. I just can't really do it with one hand. Well, there we go. Now you're probably saying to yourself, well, Carl, how could a door latch stop you from planting for over an hour? So I stopped in the field, opened the door, I got out, I went back to the planter to move some insecticide boxes around to try to level up how much I had in each base unit, since we're starting to run out towards the end of our planting season. We want to be out. And then when I got done doing that, I came back to get back in the tractor, and the door latch rocker arm mechanism here just self-destructed when I tried to open the door. So there I was, locked out of the tractor, vacuums screaming away on the planter. I still had the pump running for the fertilizer system, and I couldn't get in. Worst of all, my phone, my headset, and all my cameras were inside the tractor, so I couldn't even video any of the shenanigans that took place. But what we ended up doing was, we ended up taking the hinge pins out of the top of the back window, removing the back window by pulling it down, bending the wiper arm out and out of the way. Jeremy climbed inside the tractor cab, took the plastic housing off of this latch and figured out what had to be pushed on to open the door. And then we reattached the back window and away we went. But this whole process of trying to figure out what was wrong and trying to break into the tractor wasted over an hour of planting time. And I also failed to mention, this is the worst part about my cameras being locked up in the tractor when this happened. I was standing on the back of the tractor holding the window while he was in here working, and these gas shocks were working against me trying to push the window back, and so I tried to rest the window on the back fenders, and the whole thing slipped and kicked up and hit me right in the face, right across the nose. I thought I was going to black out. I thought my nose was going to be broken or bleeding. I ended up being fine, but it was not fun at all. I also stepped on that quick release lever on the hydraulics and accidentally kicked one of the hoses out, and it sprayed hydraulic oil all over my pants and my shoe. So overall, it was just a really great experience. And I'm just sad that I couldn't get it on camera for you because everything I had was locked inside the tractor. Now we don't have the new part yet, so now every time I get out, I have to be very careful to leave the door open. And I've also been leaving the back window unlocked whenever I get out. So in case the door blows shut in the wind, I can just pull the back window open from outside and climb back in. So one of my load cells that senses the weight on the gauge wheels failed. If you look in here at the diagnose window, you can see row 3 is not working. So what it does to compensate for that, look at this. Look at the applied downforce map. It just averages the readings from the rows on either side of that malfunctioning row. So you don't have to quit if you've got a bad load cell. We're still rocking and rolling and doing a good job, but we'll get a new load cell, stick that in there whenever we get a chance, when we're switching seed or something. Now that I'm at a good stopping spot though, I am going to try and see if I can zero the load cells out and see if it's going to be okay. So I've got the planter raised. Yes. I'm going to go ahead and zero the load cells. So it seems fine now. We'll just plant a little bit longer and see if it keeps working. Sometimes something weird happens and you'll get some dirt or something holding one of the gauge wheels up when you're turning around, and so it doesn't get a zero reading when it's lifted and it thinks there's something wrong. Once in a while something weird happens like that and you can just re-zero it out and clear it out and everything's fine. But we may have to replace a load cell. Maybe, who knows? So watch this, we're going around a sharp curve. See where it says turn compensation? what it's actually doing is it's actually running the meters that are on the inside of the curve are running a lot slower than the meters that are on the outside of the curve, so that the spacing is the same. Back when we were ground drive and there was a shaft running across the planter, you could not control that. Your seeds would be spaced way too close together on the inside of the curve and way too far apart on the outside. So far so good, you guys. All the load cells are working. Good grief, you guys, check this out. This is the last pass of corn planting for 2021. I can't believe it. I'm excited about this. I did a little downforce sabotage test to see how losing ground contact affects uniformity in emergence, so stay tuned for that. How is it possible that we're done planting corn already? I mean, we haven't been rained out for a single entire day since we started planting. I don't even know what day it is, so I don't know how to tell you how many days ago it was. Now we're gonna switch back to beans, but wow, this has been a whirlwind of a planting season. It's almost sad. Like, planting is one of my favorite things to do, and so I'm happy that everything's going well and we're doing good, but I'm also kind of bummed out that it's gonna be over so fast. Also, I don't think there's a single field where you finish at the end that you want to be on. It's always, you finish clear up here at the other end and the driveway is down here. Why is that? Success! I decided I better get out here and get my flags in the ground to get ready for my emergence flagging, because if I waited too long and the corn came up, it would be too late. So I went out and I measured out my 1,000th of an acre on a few different rows. I want to test the furrow force versus the poly twister closing wheels. And then I also did, like I mentioned in this video earlier, I did a sabotage downforce test where I put very little downforce on and lost a lot of ground contact with the gauge wheels. I want to see how that affects emergence. It is still not too late for you to get your own free emergence flagging kit, complete with brown paper, instructions, all the flags that you need to flag the different days of emergence, and your very own shiny little depth gauge to tell you how deep you planted your seed and to help you dig down there and find them in the first place. But definitely hurry up and get your kit coming, because I want to follow along with you this growing season and see how your emergence compares to ours and what the final result looks like at harvest time. Well, that's going to be it for today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Thank you so much for riding along with me today. I'll see you next time.